In a previous video, we learned all about factoring whole numbers. And now we're going to learn how factoring can help us when working with fractions. We're going to learn how to simplify fractions. Simplifying a fraction means rewriting the fraction using the smallest top and bottom numbers we can without changing the value of the fraction. Let's take our complicated fraction, 3 over 6, and factor both the top and bottom numbers. Now, the bottom number 6 can be factored into 2 times 3. The top number, 3, is a prime number. Its only factors are 1 and itself. So we can write that as 1 times 3. There, we've rewritten our fraction using factoring, and now it kind of looks like two fractions being multiplied together. 1 over 2 times 3 over 3. Of course, 3 over 3 is what I like to call a whole fraction, since its value is equal to 1. Now here's the interesting part. Since 3 over 3 equals 1, and multiplying by 1 has no effect on a number, we can just get rid of that 3 over 3. Basically, the 3 on the top and the 3 on the bottom cancel each other out. And once they're gone, we're left with the fraction 1 over 2. Now that we know the basics, let's learn the procedure for simplifying fractions. First, replace the top and bottom numbers of the fraction with their prime factors. Next, look to see if any of the factors are the same on the top and bottom. If they are, then we call them common factors because they're something that both the top and bottom have in common. If you find a pair of common factors, you can cancel them out. Just draw a line through them, like this. And last, once all the common factors have been canceled, you need to remultiply any factors that are left over on the top or bottom. This makes sure that you end up with only one number on the top and bottom of your simplified fraction. Oh, and there's one important thing to remember. If you're ever able to cancel out all of the factors on the top or bottom of a fraction, don't be tempted to write in a 0. Put a 1 in there instead. The reason you can write in a 1 is because 1 is always a factor of any number. It's just we usually don't write it in. For instance, if you're going to factor the number 15, you just say that it's 5 times 3. But you could also say that it's 5 times 3 times 1. In part 1, we learned the procedure for simplifying fractions. Basically, you just take the top and bottom numbers and factor them down to their prime factors. And then you see if there's any factors that are the same on the top and bottom. We call those common factors. And if there are, you just cancel them out. And once you've canceled out all the common factors, you remultiply whatever's left over to get your final answer. Let's start with an easy one. Let's simplify the fraction 5 over 15. Step 1 is to factor the top and bottom numbers. So, we know that 15 factors into 5 times 3. And 5 is a prime number. That means its only factors are 1 and itself. But 1 is always a factor, so we don't need to write that down. Step 2 is to look for common factors and cancel them. And we can see that there's a 5 on the top and there's a 5 on the bottom. They're not directly over each other, but that doesn't matter. They still form a common factor pair, and so we can cancel them out like this. Step 3 is to reorganize our answer. Now we don't have any factors that need to be recombined by multiplying. We just have a 3 on the bottom, and we don't have any factors left over on top. But you'll remember that there's always a factor of 1. So 5 over 15 simplifies to 1/3. All right, I think we need to see another example, but a harder one this time. Let's simplify the fraction 30 over 36. The procedure is the same. Step 1 is we factor the top and bottom numbers all the way down to their prime factors. So our bottom number becomes 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. Well, it looks like we do have some common factors. There's a 2 on both the top and bottom that will cancel each other out. Now we can see that there's another pair we can cancel. There's a 3 on both the top and bottom, so we can just cross those out. Okay, that's all the common factors we can cancel. So now all we have to do is see what's left over. We have a 5 on the top and a 2 times 3 on the bottom. We don't want to leave our problem looking like this, so we need to recombine any factors that didn't cancel. That means multiplying together our 2 and 3 on the bottom, which gives us 6. There, we're left with the fraction 5 over 6. That's the simplified form of the fraction 30 over 36. They both have the same value, but the simplified one is written using the smallest numbers possible. Learn more at mathantics.com.